and you get 50 of those. It has memory enough for 50 data points. If you set it to automatic and have it start recording a log, basically, it'll record every 15 minutes. It'll record one data point, your altitude and your time, and each of those, every 15 minutes, and then each data point that it records goes towards the 50 that you have, and then when you start, it says 40 free. So that means you have 40 data points left on which you can record. With the Suunto, you can record logs, and you can record up to 10 logs, but each log can be like hours long. So, and you can also set the recording interval. So, for example, if we go into the memory setting, to the record interval, you can see that if we can set it to like 1 second intervals and have half an hour of recording time, or up to a minute and have 33 hours of recording time. So you can record 10 logs, and within each log you can stop and start. So, for example, if I go into altitude mode, or altimeter mode, there's a log here that I've started, and it's sort of like I can either let it run continuously and just keep recording changes, or I can start and stop it and get summaries of your ascent and descent, but not discrete altitude measurements. And the way that you access those then is to go into memory, and instead of altimeter barometer, go into the logbook. And here's the log that I started. It's the time. This is the time and the date that it was recorded. Go into view, and this was me climbing the stairs to my apartment. So it tells you your peak altitude, how much you ascended and what your ascent rate was, how much you descended and what your descent rate was, and this lap and split thing is where I started and stopped the log. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty feature rich and I mean information rich as well. And there's your here you can track. It gives you a graph of how your altitude changed over time. With the G-Shock, we go into the recall mode, and we can see our various data points in there, and it does an all-time maximum and an all-time minimum as well. But since these are discrete data points, I don't think it'll graph it. I don't know if it will with the automatic. When you record it in the automatic mode, where it does it every 15 minutes, it may. Actually, it does. If you record a continuous log, it will graph it up in this window. Two other quick things about log recording on these watches. The Casio G-Shock manual says that it's not good for activities where you're going to be ascending and descending really quickly, like snowboarding or something like that. The Suunto Core, on the other hand, can handle those kind of situations because it has a really fast recording interval. The other thing about the Suunto Core is that if you're recording a log in altimeter mode, you can switch over to barometer and check the barometer while you're recording the log. And I think that is true for the G-Shock as well. I'm recording a log right now in altimeter mode, and I can switch over and I can see what the barometer is doing. The main takeaway for me on these watches is that the stereotype between Japanese and European products holds true in this case. That is that the G-Shock, for example, the Japanese watch is sort of like the Toyota truck of the pair. It's rugged, it's tough, you know, it can take a licking and keep on, you know, doing whatever these watches do. And you know, it's not quite as fancy. It doesn't quite have as many features, but it's rugged and it gets the job done. The Suunto Core, on the other hand, feels like the Audi to me. You know, it's stylish, it's sleek, it's really technically quite advanced and really amazing. And maybe has a couple of quirks. You know, like the screen is a little hard to read sometimes, and the bezel's a little hard to turn. But other than that, it's a really solid watch with really an amazing feature set and amazing sort of level of data that you can record. In fact, I think that's the main difference between these two. I mean, aside from the like simplicity versus like technical forerunner, the way these watches record data is different. The Suunto does more sort of trending, so, you know, your ascent rate, your descent rate, over time, you know, how your altitude changes. And the G-Shock measures discrete data points. So, you know, like at this time, this is your altitude. And even the running logs that the G-Shock records are just a string of discrete data points, you know, so again, here's your time, here's your altitude, here's your time, here's your altitude. So those are the main differences between these two. Other than that, horses for courses, I think. I mean, I think for $150, the G-Shock is a pretty good competitor to the Suunto Core. If you want to spend the extra money, you can really get quite an advanced watch with some amazing features. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that comparison, and thanks a lot for watching.